This morning, Bungie announced that the new raid coming this Friday, August 26th, is King's Fall. I am absolutely buzzing because this is my favorite raid of all time. I've done this raid a lot and have seen just about every mistake a player can make. This video covers some of the best tips to help you succeed. If you're planning to play King's Fall in Destiny 2, whether new or returning, this video is for you. Even for the most experienced players, I bet there's some information in this video you didn't know, or it'll give you a chance to refresh yourself and be at the top of your game. What this video isn't, I'm not going to focus on basic encounter mechanics or strategies. I'm going to give you insight on how to help you complete the raid more effectively and efficiently. However, there are a few strategy tips that may help your team if you're struggling. I'm not going to cover jumping puzzles or mazes. Keep in mind that skips and sword wall climbs may not work anymore in D2 as well. Keep in mind these tips are assuming mechanics are the same. Most were in Vault of Glass, so I assume they will be here, but there could be some differences when you play it. Now let's get into it. In the opening, pick up your balls together. There's only a short amount of time for both players to have a ball in hand, and if both balls aren't picked up, they will reset and require you to redo an additional phase. Dunk your balls together. You have to be fairly quick, as the screen will start shaking to alert you time is almost up. And much like picking up balls together, if both balls aren't dunked at the same time, then they will reset and require an additional set of balls to reset. Your buddy should protect the VIP, i.e. the runner, and also open windows. Be clearing the ads while the runner is going to get the ball, and once it's picked up, make sure the route is clear of ads and open the window when they get there. Totems can be surprisingly difficult for teams that don't take their time with their individual responsibilities. It's notoriously frustrating and it gets messy fast. Stay in the center of the totems until they switch to avoid buff switch mishaps. I can't tell you how many times someone goes off to the side or leaves a bit too early and the buff doesn't switch properly. Help kill the knight up top before leaving. If timed properly, they spawn around the time the buff switches. Helping kill the knight will ensure the buff switches properly before leaving. If there's some latency in the team, there's a tendency to be a delay before the buff properly switches. Better to be safe than sorry here. When you're in the middle area, stay in the center until the ×10 buff is done. Otherwise, you won't be able to get the buff out on the totem. Quick tip, you can actually stay on the totem without the buff if you have a healing ability, assuming Destiny 2 is the same. Something like a well, a rift, healing nades could keep you alive and help you finish the encounter. However, think of it as a last-ditch effort in case you're close to completing the encounter. Warpriest happens very quickly, and it's best to have some setup before you get into the encounter first. Figure out who's comfortable taking the buff beforehand and put them in the appropriate spots. Avoid killing yellow bars before red bars on the sides to avoid aggressive fire from those ads. When knights are out, the next part doesn't start until all 3 knights are dead, so take your time and you communicate with your team when killing knights. After the knights are dead, the left totem always lights up first on the first round. Additionally, you can actually see the lit totems from the side, and you don't necessarily have to go to the front to see them. If you're running the buff, when you go to reset the timer, avoid using explosive or firefly rounds so that when you kill the ads, you're not accidentally killing more than one. If you do kill more than one, it will reset more than one stack on the timer. After DPS is done, make sure to stand in the shadow behind the totem until it completely disappears to make sure no one dies. With Golgoroth, avoid killing ads at the back cave to make sure you get ammo in good spots that you can get. When the taken ads start to spawn, feel free to kill the ads back at the cave because you're probably not going to have time to go for ammo anyways. And similar to Warpriest, avoid killing yellow bars before the red bars on the sides to avoid aggressive fire. You can actually take the gaze from the front if you're high on this box enough and you get a clear shot. I always tend to aim a little bit higher than you think you should to make sure that I get that yellow crit spot. For DPS team, make sure you're standing directly in the puddle so that you get that damage buff. I can't tell you how many times we're unable to clear Golgoroth because people don't realize that they're not in the damage puddle. Make sure to keep an eye on your damage numbers to make sure that you're in the puddle. Don't forget about unstable light. Whoever is running gaze should consider telling the team at 10 seconds to look for unstable light. Whoever has unstable light needs to jump away from the team to keep them safe. The Sisters encounter can often frustrate teams because of the RNG nature of who's running. Make sure to get on the plates in order counterclockwise. If someone gets on early, you can save it by having everyone jump off and back on in order. However, the chance of completion goes down a lot because of the lost time. You don't actually need to get on the 4th plate, which is the one with the icon above the plate, just 1 through 3. Don't forget about those snipers at 40 seconds. The runner should wait an extra second or two to make sure they get the buff. I've touched it and jumped off too quickly, only to be met with latency and no buff. You can also jump straight from the buff to the sister plate without having to go to the ground. When dunking the buff, try to line up the dunk directly in front of her in case she slams and sends you flying. This is very important for the second sister so that you don't get bumped off to the side. You can kill one sister at a time, and the left sister is easier to kill. After the first sister's dead, you can actually stand on that empty plate when killing the second sister. Oryx is about taking care of individual responsibilities, ogres, knights, and adds. Oryx will always choose the front left or front right to start. Second round will always be in the back on the same side as round 1. Third round, he will always be on the same plate as round 1. And the last round will always be on the opposite side in the front from round 1. So for example, he might go front left, then back left, then front left, then front right, and the opposite if he starts on the right side. Don't forget about knights. Communicate if a knight gets away from you and where the knight is headed directionally. Try to avoid saying bomb 4 or where he spawned, as it takes too long to process that information for those that are wanting to help. Example of a good call out would be, I need help with knight front left. After killing your knight, use the remainder of your time to clear adds. When you're stunning Oryx, add fire can be annoyingly flinchy while trying to aim. Hot tip, if you skip the first detonation, you can skip the runaround phase entirely. However, it does require you to kill ogres without them running very far. Alternatively, the 16 bomb strat is actually quite difficult because it requires all 4 ogres to stay put for 4 full rounds. I recommend 8-4-4 as it is proven to be an easier method since rounds 3 and 4 the ogre can run and you can detonate wherever the bombs are. So that would mean detonating after round 2, after round 3, and then after round 4. Refrain from punching, especially you titans, after stun and also in the shade after Oryx is killed. It can cause you to hit enemies into teammates and send them flying to their death. You ever wonder how your friends die in the shade before you come back? Odds are somebody was punching or moving around too much and deflected a teammate into the shade. Oryx chest stuns do require burst damage, but bomb detonation does not. Have the fire team use their primary ammo weapons just before detonation to pepper his chest as a team to keep it open while bombs do the damage. Here's a clip of me getting full bomb damage by myself with a 170 primary when our light was 400 to prove this point. And when in doubt, there's always the no night strat. That's it. You now have the tips you need to confidently go into Destiny 2 King's Fall. If this video was helpful to you, please like the video and share with your friends. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll do my best to answer them for you. If you need more information on the basics of the raid encounters, I recommend you check out one of these videos linked above. Feel free to come check us out on Twitch 5 nights a week at twitch.tv/JSniperton. Until next time, JSnipes out.